The scene changes and scary-looking demons appear standing on her balcony, a demon watching over a world filled with darkness. He turned away from the disturbing scene and went back to his great throne when every other devil on earth was walking. One with their heads bowed announced with a commanding voice its time came to deal with these idiots, those who dared to enter his domain. He warned them that only destruction and more chaos awaits those who dare to challenge him. Devils, it knowing that they listen carefully to the words of their king when they become warm after sitting on their imposing throne, revealed his terrible form, that his on the head were long sharp nails with pointed horns and a strong male form. His eyes scary red glows as he defined survivors and find your own. He issued an order to bring it forward, promised rewards for those who faithfully obeyed. Theirs followed the will. By hearing the order of their king, thousands of demons rushed out because the ground began to tremble under their powerful feet. Theirs mission and the survivor was to be found and captured who dared to enter their land. Then the scene changed, and we see that someone from deep within, she was struggling to escape with great determination and effort. At last she managed to get rid of the water trap, and that someone of ours, the main character, is when she went. It emerged on solid ground. It started walking. She was wondering where she was and who she was as soon as she, while trying to understand everything. A window opened in front of her. Information about himself appeared, that her name was Salvos and that a level 1 infant was a demon larva in which she had a special ability to understand any language. She had 5 points of life, strength, endurance, wisdom, and agility. At first Salvos was confused, but then she realized that the window was her showing your information, and more confused then she looked around that someone would be found nearby. But there was no sign to any living being miles away. It looked like a vast expanse of white. The land was then between the big rocks. For an hour crawling on the slippery chalk and rocky floor, suddenly something sharp pushed it, causing pain, and she quickly became unaware of that. What happened? She asked out of curiosity, saw the spiky rock and realized that there is a hard white substance with spikes on it, and there's a flat side to it. Recognizing it as a rock, she looked around. Many other rocks were seen in this area. She wondered if they were all common rocks or if there was something different about her. When she constantly another window was staring at rocks, she was once again surprised by who told her to identify her. The level has reached level 2 and experience points are awarded for leveling up. A thought suddenly occurred to her that what if she can identify objects with this skill, she can use it on rocks. The thought made her very excited, and she used skill on the rocks without wasting time, and the skill indicated that they were really just regular rocks that nobody knew about. There was no specific information. Be disappointed that all rocks, regular rocks, have emerged, though they're different sizes of spiky. And in spite of the colors, she got around, tried identification skill multiple times on all the other rocks for different results. Unfortunately for her, each time she faced the same result, brought to the verge of tears. But as soon as she another system was about to cry, the notification made it once. Then the system was shocked and curious, looked at the window to see what new skills she had received this time. When she proceeded with keeping an eye on the system window, she realized that he has reached level 2 and now has 5 stat points, and there's a skill point. She thought, what can she do with these new abilities? Suddenly she heard some noise and turned back. To her surprise, she wondered, motivating other living beings to see something incredibly interesting. It was the first time she had encountered creatures like herself. Dozens of them were grouped together, wandering aimlessly across the empty landscape. They stood out with their vibrant colors against the white background. Most of them, unlike the surrounding humidity, they resembled her, but one with slight differences in their shapes. While there were black and yellow spots on the back, the rest of the body was red. Unlike 2 eyes, he had only 1 eye on his face. Salvos asked what she was like. These rocks, although they differed in shape and color, still they were curious. Once she honed his identification skills, then applied, and she discovered 2 things. First of all, that in spite of belonging to was at the level of a second, the same species and subspecies that they themselves were at level 2, which was higher than them, which was different from rocks. All the results were the same. The realization brought a sense of relief to her mind, because Salvos was about to leave the group of devils. He drew her attention to him when she saw another level 2 infant demon like herself. She was surprised when the other demon raised her tentacles close to her face and a small flame appeared from them. Salvos was shocked and furious, wanted to learn how to do this using my identification skills. She discovered that skill called magical fire. He explained that fire was created using mana, and through wisdom it could be mastered. By Salvos checked her personal information and understood the intended meaning of the system. Because it has he had 5 available stat points, decided to allocate 1 point. Her intellect raised it to 6 points. When she did so, a spider web-like structure appeared above it as he closed his eyes, leaving the curiosity about the purpose of the end open again. But this structure, he suddenly disappeared. I wondered where it had gone. That her relation, it may be of her own accord. but that no fire could get her out of her tense disappointed. But she did not give up. Instead, she decided to follow the infant devil who can use magical fire in hopes of learning a lesson from him. After hours of travel, all larvae that they were walking forward suddenly stopped. For some reason, the larva in front of Salvos was not moving, and it blocks the approach as he determined that they maneuvered around and tried to find a higher vantage point. See what she did were investigating, but whatever she seen, it was nothing good. When she reached the front, she took a long level, saw 5 infant larvae that saw it, felt fear. Then level 2 baby devil who as he could use fire magic and moved forward in fear, but determined to fight it. Your magical fire skills immediately activated. Salvos became excited at the thought that now she will save everyone like a hero. Her magical fire skills will be powerful, but before she owns a level 5 larva completes the sentence, the head from the level 2 larva hit fragment Salvos. Each larva was stunned and speechless, stood in a furious line, and began to attack large level 5 larvae. But the result was the same: kill them in one hit. Level the larva of 5 proved incredible and easily overcame them. To this, Salvos seeing helplessly, their blood started splattering, and she realized that there was no chance of winning against him alone. He was sure if they worked together, they may have a fighting chance. Salvos missed the larva with one eye and started looking for it, and many more others already own colleagues had escaped, leaving level 5 behind, as he knew that running is the only option to survive. So she and the remaining larvae started running away. However, a level 5 larva, he was faster than them. In an instant he grabbed her head and many infant larvae are crushed immediately. Salvos was thrown to the ground feeling helpless. She thought hard how to defeat powerful larvae when as he saw the blue path emerging again, it forms a web-like structure. Tried opening a system window so that he could understand the meaning, but her attention at the time another larva, when disconnected, it was thrown at him, causing him to fall to the ground despite the pain as he felt it. That of a web-like structure, as he has nothing to do with wisdom. Used all your stat points to increase wisdom to 10, and suddenly one could see the web-like structure more clearly. Concentration. Salvos focused on creating a fire that suddenly dims a web-like structure as he was engulfed in flames like a meteor streak towards the level 5 larva covered in fire. And by making a huge hole in his chest, it is killed instantly by a red larva. Looked in fear on the ground. She narrowly escaped death as she fell to the ground. Moments before falling, there was a sense of satisfaction. He had finally mastered magical fire. Not only that, but she leveled up 3 times by gaining 2 new skills. The current level was now 5, and she had there skill points and stats. Also her fire gained the strike skill. Salvos her surprised by the incredible success that she was unable to find the words to describe her progress. Her thoughts were interrupted when she saw a red larva trembling in fear of her, because he was afraid that this larva is staring at her in fear, undermining his courage as he asked, "What do you want?" Salvos focused her attention on the red larva. Red was anxiously waiting for the answer. The larvae, he suddenly looked at her without any emotion. His eyes lit up when he saw that Salvos curious. Salvos shook her head and she realized that the eyes of the red larva, he follow her every move. "Why aren't you doing anything? You're just a rock," Salvos asked again, frustrated at not getting any response from the red larvae. He turned her back, decided to walk back. Victory over the Great Satan is her primary goal. She had to become stronger and reach higher levels during her journey. She wandered around the country for several days and was a wild infant faced with demons who attacked her for no reason, as he made the rule that she will defend herself and defeat anyone as he attacked her first. Salvos especially not minding that other demons keep attacking her because of defeating them. But she is strong. There was a small problem that she was being followed, as suddenly a wild demon was about to engage in combat with the red larva appeared, and one of the first Salvos took the target away from him. There was no objection because this larva was in the company of other people who were not wild, and he didn't seem to want to harm her, so he took the red larva as his own. Let go in his travels, however, whenever Salvos got into a fight, the red larva would jump up and steal his kill, even if he did them reduce, if not completely eliminate. Salvos' experience will be gained because of its involvement. Salvos became increasingly angry when he checked his system and your benefits as he saw herself shrinking. She believed in her fighting abilities and she did not feel the need of anyone's help, so she tried to keep her distance from the red larva. When it comes to distribution of points, she has her own focused on increasing agility and intelligence, but unfortunately she saw the red larvae too. It didn't matter that she was increasing her agility. Where has she gone? Red larva, exhausted by her constant presence, he followed her, making Salvos, although she wanted to be alone to avoid being with him, found focusing more on my agility. They knew that wisdom sometimes they are more helpful in battles. It manages to lose it temporarily so that somehow she could find it again. At one point, she felt disappointed as he thought of getting rid of the red larva by causing pain, but soon realized that such actions he cannot be distinguished from the great devil from whom he defeated the mere idea of becoming a wild demon, and that she desperately didn't want to change into him. So instead of harming him, Salvos decided to find a way to avoid it altogether. Sudden Salvos and red larvae 5 came to another larva with a large one in front. The black one stood up to Salvos, not sure if these larvae are wild or not. They are brazen because they didn't attack. Her thought may be on them, controlled to go to them. When she checked their level, she saw that the black larva was at level 9, whereas other Salvos of level 6 or below, as he herself had now reached level 8. A surprisingly level 9 larva pointed straight at Salvos, and him was completely unaware of this intention. Salvos thought he might want to someone joined his team, and he did offered her the red larva, thinking that there will be a way to get rid of red larvae. But the black larva shook his head in frustration and indicated that he don't want red larva. Poor red larva, as he was not wanted by the black larvae. Again pointing to Salvo, he indicated that she just wanted. However, Salvo still couldn't understand that black larvae. What was he trying to talk about? Suddenly, without warning, the black larvae tried to attack Salvos by delivering the blood to the splatter. She on this point was confused that the attack was deliberate or accidental, but before that any reacting black larvae prepared for another attack. In a moment the red larva appeared and he attacked black larvae. And seeing this, Salvos punched her in the face. She felt it that the red larva has come to her aid and that the black larva wanted to harm him, although she wanted to help out. If fear had paralyzed her body, the red larvae on their own bravely fought off the black larvae with equal strength. However, there was competition, unexpected twists, when a green one-eyed one larvae intervened. She mastered a rock that of the red larvae. A hit on the head made her blush. The larva looked at the other 4 larvae, and this realizing that these 3 larvae are the source of attack. Black larvae and Salvos singly. As soon as she left, the Salvos began to attack her. Fear felt him taking hold of her when he saw the events unfolding, looked at the black larva, and finally understood these larvae are not mindless like wild demons. However, she also found out that they don't see her as a friend, though as something they can kill to level up and can become strong while they continuing her constant fight. This drew her attention to the level 9 larva. It was clear that this larva we all wanted to beat ourselves up and get it. Black larvae experienced that. She is ready to attack him with her sharp claws, but he dodged the attack and quickly using her magic fire skills he delivered a solid punch to the stomach. It pained him to realize that he is faster than its rival. Salvos saw him, larva with eyes, getting ready to use his magical rock attack. Because Salvos put most of his points into agility, she easily survived the attack that led to it. Salvos got angry with the one-eyed larva, and she at first thought of attacking him, but Kale larva charged at, reminding her that he needed to deal with the one-eyed larva first. Before going after it, the one-eyed larva was ready to attack the Salvos again, while black larvae challenged her to fight him. While watching it all, the one-eyed one felt a wave of anger. Larva prepared his magical attack while the Salvos activated their fire-making skills. The intensity of the flames made the black larvae felt the danger, and when the black larva covered its face as it prepared to attack, defensively covered it. However, his surprise attack was just one. There was a distraction. Her flame blackhorn threw to larva, and the one-eyed larva lunged in response. The one-eyed larva rocked its magic, launched an attack, but was easily dodged by Salvos, and instantly defeating the one-eyed larva by retaliating with a devastating punch of magical fire. Killed Salvos. After breathing, looked at the flames and thought of the red larva. He is more powerful than others, but the number was increasing. Suddenly a thought occurred to her, but not before that. The black larvae do something. Lunged at her with her teeth. In a moment, she quickly jumped upwards to avoid his attack, and she to other larvae Lipke, who was bumping into them, and them she used to send the other 4 flying backwards. The larvae tried to attack her at once, but as soon as blacks were about to attack larvae, when they intervened and killed one among them was the larva that was trying to harm Salvos. Now Salvos was sure that black larva wants to kill her for herself so that she can level herself. Then a devastating battle between the Salvos began. Black larvae Salvos activated her fire skill. Both of them violent blows were exchanged, and the fight lasted for hours. Salvos was tired and hurt. She could barely muster up enough energy can do another fire strike, but black, unlike the larva, she had a friend. Suddenly red larvae punched black larvae in the face, rolled it over on the ground. The black larva was selfish, so he killed his own partner in order to get all the experience points for yourself. The remaining larvae were defeated by the red larvae. Now it's 2 versus 1. The situation was Salvos, and the red larvae started their attacks. This with that he gave the black larva a mighty blow from which he flew upwards and fell to the ground. Too many Salvos died breathing, and both red larvae exhausted from the fight. They fell to the ground. Then a system, the window opened, revealing Salvos that she has learned a new skill that rest is called. She had also leveled twice, and it was now level 9. Looking at the window, she realized that she close to level 10. As he had a feeling that reaching this level will become something important, but was not sure if by Salvos. As a gust of light breeze and red larvae, Salvos was resting peacefully after their fierce battle, as he was grateful for her new skill, who made her horned devil and helped her recover quickly from fights with her minions. Prefers to avoid fighting overall, but She helped raise her level, seen changes to your abilities and stats, especially among her skills that now at level 9 she's improved. She's grown up and even also developed new organs, which as he was not at level 1 this is big as the giant demon that first attacked him when she met the others. She realized that she believed that it will continue to evolve and change as it matures. I was sure that when she reaches level 10, something important awaits her because he had saved her life. If he did, Blackhorn would not have intervened. Had the devil attacked her, she would have died for that reason. She no longer minded that he is following her. All of a sudden the red larva winked at her teasingly. It seemed like she was joking, having fun they did along with the red larva. She continued her journey faithfully. She was grateful for his help as he followed the Salvos and had accepted him as her partner. They side by side defeated many other demons, and one after fighting with the other. They were walking near a rock. Suddenly they were attacked. Hearing an unfamiliar voice coming from below, their curiosity was piqued, and what they saw on the edge of the cliff was what they saw. It was unexpected and scary. A group of furious and terrifying demons moving on with the oppressed-looking larvae, which they were never followed by Salvos had seen before. The first time they of large horns heard a deep voice coming from a demon with sharp teeth and bright red eyes. Satan warned everyone to keep going, and anyone who disobeys Salvos is threatened with a gruesome death. And the red larvae seen trying to understand that what is happening. Then the red larva saw something and drew Salvos' attention was drawn to her. There was a one-eyed larva with a captive. The larvae were being forced to follow the Salvos. She said immediately recognized the one-eyed larva as the larva that had escaped. During their fight with the tall demon larvae, suddenly some of the younger ones in the group, the devils, rebelled, but a tall demon with big horns quickly killing them all with a single blow. Amidst this chaos, the one-eyed larva desperately tried to escape, but when his spear flames he was hit in the stomach and killed instantly. The supreme demon declared that he warned them about trying to escape, and this is the fate of the one-eyed larva. He used it as a lesson for the rest of the survivors. Cruelly ordered them to move on. It is clear that they never could not escape the Salvos and the red larvae as he proceeded, carefully keeping a safe distance from the wild demons, whose demons beneath the horror scene easily killing the larvae. They were filled with deep anxiety when suddenly one of them, Satan, looked up, but Salvos and the red larva managed to hide itself, trembling with fear because the higher demons Salvos moved away. And red larva took a moment to calm himself. He looked back at the rock and saw something burning with magical flames, which is like a weird thing. It seemed the spear Salvos recognized as a magical object and quickly began to slide down towards it. Its red larvae. Salvos started to feel uneasy at the back. Used my identification skills to find out more about him. However, initially it confused about its origin and purpose. Nothing was gained. One again focusing deeply on the spear. Suddenly a system notification appeared that her identification skills, it has reached 3 to 4 experience awarded to level general skill. The system told Salvos that the spear was a medium, is the weapon from which it was made. The magic flames into the wheel builder allow your enemies to deal additional fire damage. This revelation sparked an idea in Salvos' mind as he felt that fire your weapon can combine with strike skill to enhance her attacks and can make them more powerful. Like Salvos was about, a loud roar behind them to grab the spear. Humming, they turned back and saw a terrible beast slowly approaching. Nizam informs them that at 15th level is hell. Just as fear gripped the Salvo and the red larva when they trembling in the presence of the mighty hellhound, teeth exposed because he charged towards them, and numerical difference between them seemed too much, and Salvos had no idea how to face such a strong opponent. It looked like a highly advanced demon. The hellhound growls forcefully. Salvo and red larvae shutting down with electricity. As quickly as Salvos was about to attack, he quickly dodged her attack as he activated his fire conjuring skill. And a heavy blow landed on the hellhound's stomach. However, her attack, not even a scratch was left on the beast. Hellhound took one and let out a thunderous roar, and you're raising sharp claws and trying to claw at Salvos somehow managed to escape from his attack to the red larva. There was an opportunity to counterattack. A little damage was done on the hellhound. Now the hellhound turned his attention. The distraction focused on the red larvae, taking advantage of his aggression towards smaller creatures, unleashed a barrage of magical fire at the hellhound, with which the hellhound guarded caught the Salvos, and the red larvae attacked at the same time that the animal, not sure of her intended target. However, before that they could attack the hellhound, Salvos sends him crashing into a corner. Then Salvos unleashed a vicious slash at the red larva, realized that his fellow hellhound can't match the awesome power of that. As he looked around, saw the spear, and despite the intense heat, an idea came to her mind as he summoned all her strength to pull out the spear. Burning sensation and spears enduring the resistance she closed her eyes under Salvos' relentless attack. The hellhound managed to dislodge the spear that had been fixed on her wounded companion, and feeling a wave of despair within him, ordered the hellhound to stop his attack on her partner, and she launched her fire strike to kill the beast, be driven away as Salvos and hellhound's enclosed eyes. The tension filled the air, clinging tightly to the spear engulfed in flames. A hellhound ready to defend itself bent down and as preparing to attack. Red Larvae in the middle as he lay wounded and helpless with a loud roar. Hellhound acting swiftly. He sauntered over to Salvos, summoned the fire strike skill to counter the attack. Despite the scratch on his stomach, Salvos stood her ground and defended herself when the hellhound himself was preparing for another. She took advantage of the opportunity, charged towards Salvos with a thunderous roar, and taking advantage of the opportunity, Salvos speared in the mouth of a hellhound, in which, combined with her fire strike, the power of the spear, she had dealt a devastating blow, which immediately hellhound killed. Hellhound fell on the ground, one defeated by a sustained attack by Salva. Breeding system window scene, appreciating her victory over the formidable enemy Salvos, who 2 times level 11 had been reached, as he felt a thrill of satisfaction at her victory. However, instead of happy, overwhelmed by pain and exhaustion, she sank to the ground, his body gasping for breath. Agony filled her as Salvos struggled to catch her breath. In a weakened state, her vision became blurred in panic. She saw the red larva running towards her. Like she closed her eyes of the mysterious wind system, the notification informed her that evolution now to the Salvos. From being a newborn demon, there was a chance to transform into a small demon. The concept of evolution, it was a bit confusing for her, but Nizam explained that she has fulfilled the requirements for 5 different subspecies which of evolution surrounded by darkness were presented together. Many system windows, each represents a different subtype of option, including choices included Fanfire, Fiend, Hellhound, and Passionate Imp. Feeling uncertain, Salvos checked out the shadow images of the lesser monsters. None of them felt quite right, except her with determination as he announced that it was me, and as he chose enthusiasm as her evolutionary form. Close your eyes, and one experienced a floating sensation because the system notification, the successful completion of her evolution, confirmed when she opened her eyes. She saw that the look has become sharper than ever as he saw red larvae. Even she was startled for some reason. Salvos examined her hands curiously, and he was surprised to see that her nails were tall and feminine in appearance. But what surprised her even more was that her voice, when she spoke, it was transformed into a beautiful tone. She never did before heard that Salvos the fierce larva was transformed into a magnificent female elf. Her white hair was flowing, a small but sharp horn, and yellow eyes. A charming slender figure was another. A system window appeared, reminding her that she had evolved into a lesser demon. By this change, she 2 additional skill slots and 3 skills earned points that allowed her to unlock new abilities such as Double Step, Fire Blast, and Salvos of general tool skills. Sitting on the ground, her eyes fixed on her new form as he owns, run your fingers over the changed skin. Feel. As he felt surprised at the struggle to stand on her long legs. It was only then that she tried to make sense of her situation as he realized that he was the one has taken the form of a demon. Her eyes fell on the red larva, who was trembling with fear and confusion. Reassure her, she said. I introduced myself as this companion B. However, the red larva sweat and crawling, shivering. Salvos sat down to level his heights. An arm was extended to the red larva, offering a friendly gesture. Finally, the red larvae came closer and shook her hand. Suddenly, another hellhound appeared from behind both of them. As he looked around in surprise on checking the system, she found that this hellhound is only a 13th level demon. As he took hold of her spear, activated the passive skill to the general tool skill with determination. She did face the hellhound. Larva was furious to keep up with the hellhound and was ready to attack, but then, to their surprise, despite the sheer numbers, several more hellhounds appeared in varying levels and sizes. The Salvos, undeterred, prepared to confront them. A wolf rushed to her, and she immediately used fire strike skills as he speared the hellhound. First, defeat the level 13 spike hellhound and gain extra experience points, but the war was not over until 3 more. The hellhounds approached her, and the Salvos as he swung her spear in the hope of scaring them away. But the hellhounds became even more enraged and then continued her advance. Salvos pointed her finger raised towards the hellhound and fired with her new skill. The power of her attack exploded. The wolf was reduced to ashes by the Salvos, again grabbing the red larva. She held it tightly, and in an instant the Salvos leaps over the hellhound using her double step skill, as much as fast as she could. However, hellhounds in constant pursuit of them, running. Salvos keeping a smile on her face, urging the red larva to hold on and not let go. Looking back, not wanting to leave him, she ran away, used fire strike to attack the pursuing hellhounds. She keeping the red larvae close. She finally saw the rock and thought to jump. They may help the hellbound to lose, but there's the plan went awry when a giant foot one coming down and blocking their way. A level 22 colossal hell beast Satan was standing before them. and the Salvos responded by firing back. However, the beast of hell from the flames of fire came out. The hell beast killed Salvos and she tried to parry the attack with her spear. But the power of hell beast beat her into a corner, and as he closed her eyes as she felt a sharp pain. When she opened her eyes, she was holding a red larva. She was surprised to see the beast of hell attacking the people of hell. Instead of seizing the opportunity, she ran as fast as she could. At that time, the hell beast was distracted. Salvos ran away with the red larvae. She was not aware if the red larva also from level 9 had reached level 10 demon larva. Knowing this, the red larva turned back, and soon as he lost her senses, replaced the Salvos. The larva lay panting on the ground. Rise escaping Salvos captured her. It took a moment for her to catch her breath due to being away from the enemies, and she checking her system, she found that she has become a Josh imp at level 10 as he scored 5 stat points and gained 3 skill points. That the system, the notification shows that she had 10 to 12 stood. Salvos looked back and reassured the larvae that there is no need to fear, because she will protect. However, before that she finished her sentence. Unexpected wind instead of red larvae. Now a man behind her. He stood for a long time. Red hair, skin, and elf ears. He has the man greeted her with a smile. It felt like him. Little sister was clueless about it. Who is this person? The system window shows that the man in front of her was a level 10 demon. Salvos, with significant height differences, began to suspect that this person, the evolutionary form of the red larva, is particular. When she saw that there was only a pool of black ink where the larvae. While studying this person, Salvos determined. He prepared his fist to strike with his teeth. Amazingly, that person more confused Salvos in laughter. Salvos questioned why him laughing and asked him to stop. The man replied that his reaction was so much it was funny. Without knowing why this person laughed, introduced myself as Hack, laughed and talked happily for a while. Salvos happily expressed that he did always considered him as her partner. She didn't know he had a name. He replied that he really has a name and Salvos was its leader. Salvos wondered why he saw her as a leader. He reminded her that he had followed her when she had saved him from the long larva. Salvos, with a surprised expression, asked if that was the reason why he was always chasing. He thought that trying to steal his level by killing him. Hack replied that he would never do such a thing. Salvos then asked what the Hack did. The reason he followed this level 2 larva was because he was once saved. By hearing that, Hack face turned sad, and he explained that he pursues the larva because he were the same family. Hack revealed that he found himself in a black liquid which was born with others, and Hack was later joined by Salvos. Only felt a sense of sadness because he felt that the rest are no longer there, just leaving him and those who observed the sadness of the Hack. Salvos patted him hard to ask Abs if he well. Hack answered honestly that he would. He was genuinely saddened that he own was grouped with peers such as Salvos, but that were either dead or captured by wild demons. Salvos. Yet Heck's feelings were not fully understood. This the moment that she was not entirely sure of the exact reason for his sadness. Seeing Hack in this state, Salvos hurt himself, and trying to console him, he didn't like that. He Hack holding his hand and assured him that others too can be gone, but I'm still here. He is the one who said I am your leader. Salvos said that this feeling on Hack felt, and until you will not be alone until you follow me. A broad smile lit up Salvos' face as he said these words. Replied with a slight smile. As Salvos nodded in agreement to go along, telling Heck not to be sad anymore. He reassured her that wherever they go will fight side by side and be equal to each other. Suddenly there he saw a big spider approaching them. Heck agreed with Salvos' words, and that expressed the belief that until they are together they will be fine. The spider attacked, and Salvos quickly blocked his attack with his arm. From then on to the spider biting his stomach. Heck grabbing one of the spider's legs and twisting it. She took part in the fight, hit the spider with her fire blast, and then jumped to stab him in the head with her spear. The spider screamed in agony. She was spitting green blood. Successfully defeated the giant spider, and the two equaled. The Hack reached level 13 when they were ready to leave the Salvos. That he was a little angry that the Hack was equaled twice, while the only time he was equal was when he joked, said that it is unfair to her. He's leveling up fast. He reminded her that she was already level 15, because of which for her Salvos had become difficult to level. She was about to say something, but then their system windows. It was surprising both of them at the same time that they both talked and felt that they have received the same information. Now entering the domain of the Demon King. Enough walked for a long time, but they got nothing. Hack advised to leave the place, but Salvos insisted that they have barely explored the area, and this is a new area where they can become cloudy and strong. Hack expressed his loyalty and said that Salvos was its leader and that he admitted that he would follow her orders. That she has a bad feeling about the place where Hack, understanding her concern, turned to go back the way she. Hack asks if she is okay with his idea, because he didn't want to force her. Salvos fully agreed with him, told that she only this wanted to see What made this place different? But now she suspects that nothing but danger. She thought perhaps this is where the tall devil went, and if they were face to face with them, the demons will either force them to follow or at worst try to kill them. Salvos smiled, told Heck. She didn't want that to happen. Heck smiled slightly happily that Salvos understood his concerns. Because that's something. Heck was surprised by the unexpected dropouts. I saw an unknown person approaching them. This person can clearly see that there was a large body with ashen skin. Salvos with the same elf-like ears as he stumbling like a giant. He reached forward and placed his weapon on the ground. Of these, she declared. What it seemed to be someone to answer this contract call. Not a bad idea when all the two surviving. And after less monsters, this one there is an achievement that had a smile on its face. And Heck prepared himself for a possible fight in the case of this person. At this point he intended to harm them. That's it. Couldn't see the man's level, so he asked Salvos. One can clearly see the surface of the man informed Hack that he level 42 Dejan, as he believed that he can't fight Dejan in your current R. Dejan grinned, showing off his sharp teeth, and boasted about being a big devil who there is an evolution above Salvos. She said, grasping her spear tightly. Salvos struggled to grasp its power, told Dejan that they are not wild demons. She explained that they didn't do that. They didn't want to fight him anymore. There was no reason for them to join the war. Salvos politely begs Dejan to leave them alone and makes a promise that they would not hurt him. Dejan, however, argued that the wild jinn Satans have been mentioned were not different from to him. And Salvos herself believed it was all selfish. There are creatures that by their instincts tries to kill and equalize. Angry Salvos as he replied that even if Dijon could defeat them, he will gain experience. It will be extraordinary. Nothing will be gained by fighting us. Dejan slams his weapon into the ground and disagreed that Salvos was wrong. He revealed that he knew that Salvos, your identification skills, has developed a high level of unpredictable ability to level Salvos. Dejan was shocked to know that given the size of the hack, Dejan speculated that he wasn't just an ordinary hobbyist, I guess that one can undergo extraordinary evolution, possibly even a rare one. Dejan announced that now lesser demons come with me to greet your king. Salvos and Hack was unsure what to do given the vast difference in levels there is between them and Dejan. They thought they had no chance. Salvos decided that better to follow Dejan for now, though before complying, Salvos wanted to know that what Dejan plans to do with them. If you follow it, you have to make a mistake. This was not a request, Dejan said. Responded with surprise. Salvos, without warning, Dejan attacked them with his big weapon. Salvos and the hack ran away quickly, but Salvos stumbled and fell to the ground. Dejan came to her and coldly told her that he will drag them half dead if necessary. He will fulfill the contract. And King Rignorix planned to obtain great rewards from the Demon King in which to capture both a demon and an imp. I'm not just an imp, I'm Salvos to your fire blast, she shouted as she speed up. Dejan smiled as he smacked her burning haze. A cloud of purple ash formed that engulfed him. The besieged Salvos used their spears to fend off Dajan's attack. By Dejan remarked that fire near the Salvos, the talent to produce, was unexpected, which shows it that she was worth more than she was in the beginning. With thoughtful steps he approached Salvos, who realized that the purple cloud is made of ash. The Dejan is incredibly fast, and Salvos one can sense his relentless pursuit. As he was about to attack Salvos from behind, she managed to escape just in time. Dejan said with a sarcastic smile that she forever unable to escape. To him surprise, Hack delivered a powerful punch, taking aim. A crushing blow was thrown at Dejan, but despite the power behind the hack attack, Dejan, insecure and her own determined to show strength, Dejan clenched his fists and delivered a devastating blow to the hack, which the cause sent him flying and vomiting blood. Salvos looked worriedly at Hack, wanted to run to him, though Dejan blocked his way with his hand, reached his face. His anger welled up inside Salvos as she clung her teeth. She combined with her spear. She unleashed a fire strike and attacked the weapon familiar Dejan, who swatted her, grasping it with his bare hand. He slammed his weapon into the ground that shook the ground, and Salvos quickly jumped back, avoiding the powerful force embossed by Dejan. Dejan had a wound on his hand and it was dripping with blood. It turns out that the Salvos have medium weapon, and she was surprised that a lesser devil like him. How did he get it? But his of Salvos there was no intention of answering. Dejan answered the angry questions, arms raised, and your mighty skillfully opened ash and cinders circle, which had a revolving circle above it, which he planned to use the Salvos as a projectile to attack them. Because he thought that Salvos doesn't want to come with him, he decided to scrap it and take the hack instead, because being a prisoner of Dejan, no one was better. Then Salvos quickly dodged Dejan's attack, and using your double-step skills it created distance between them. Though she managed to escape the attack, but it became clear that it would have been. If the double measures had not been taken to avoid the attack, could have ended his life. However, To Salvos it was known that whenever Dhe realized that she can't rely on double-stepping if Dejan is ready to attack again. And next time they might don't be able to avoid it like. Dejan, a sudden appearance, was ready to deliver a fatal blow. Hack emerged and interrupted the scene, riding boldly on Dejan's shoulder, holding his head tightly. "You ran away, you can do it." Salvos yelled at him, exhorted to flee. Salvos as he didn't want to leave her partner. But before she did, reactive Dejan managed to get rid of Heck's grip, and her a forced hit sent Hack flying. And Salvos, there should be a sense of guilt and remorse. She escaped from the incident, silently apologizes for leaving her partner with their enemy. Then the scene changes, and we see that giants carrying the Hack on their shoulders. At a distance, drops of blood fall from Hack wounds, and after a while, Salvos found herself outside the Demon King's realm, as he was deeply saddened by this fact, that he could sacrifice himself to save her, while he, the Demon King, having chosen to leave to be taken by Regenerax. She now walks the white surface alone. She has her questioned the decision and wondered if it right to do so, that she had been alone for most of her existence, and had only spent a short time with him, not sure what to do next, which is her first attention was there. Now she wondered, what is there only in your life instead of evolution? She raised her hand and determined to find a better reason for her actions. Salvos confessed that it was fun to level up, feeling a sense of completion with each evolution, but she understood that if she just wants to follow her instincts, to fight and to develop, that the wild will not be different from the demons she faced. Hack was his partner, who recognized her as Salvos. While they could not always be together, recognition was important to her. She wanted to acknowledge him and return the Demon King's domain. Salvos faced his own enemy, but by defeating him herself. Turning back, she stood in front of the door and looked at him with determination. Meanwhile, when he stepped into it, following the Hack trail she from the lair of Dejan, step into the blood of the tracking Hack it taken to him. When Salvos saw Dejan at a table, Hack, when he was busy with something, it was closed behind him. In the middle of them was a pentacle. Suddenly Dejan, infuriated by this fact, he slammed his hand on the table. That Salvos have more powerful, it was a weapon. Salvos compared it, overheard the conversation between Dejan and her. Salvos felt the need to help Hack, while Dejan was in possession of his contract. When Dejan turned away, Salvos quickly Hack went to Dejan, was suddenly surprised to see her there, shouted in frustration when he was confronted. It looked like a mirror with a bright blue light. He kept talking to himself while Salvos tried to help Hack escape. Keep an eye on Dejan to avoid getting caught. Dejan, after all, a Hack is called, indicating that it is time that he meet the king using the spear of Salvos. The goal was to break the lock. With a successful strike, she opened it and made a noise that caught Dejan's attention. He screamed as the angry Salvos and hacked their gateway to Dejan, thrown into a circle of ash and cinders. While the Salvos threw a spear over his shoulder, Dejan screamed in pain, ash and cinder to pieces. The Salvos and Hacks moved on, but Dejan managed to avoid it, pulled the spear from his shoulder, and he faced Salvos straight, and he directed the heat to proceed, but Dejan attacked her to avoid his attack. Salvos summoned her magical fire and fought to regain her balance. She demonstrated her fire skills against Dejan, but to she surprise, Dejan was protected by the furious flames, and she attacked him and attacked Salvos. Due to her falling to the ground, Dejan owned. She was preparing to end her life. During this time, Salvos called out of deep concern for his well-being. However, she was facing this pain. Salvos, at this critical moment, she used all her strength to get up, but Dejan developed another talent. Before he could attack with Salvos of his own, he used double step, and Dejan pushed into a nearby portal. He launched himself into the air, but Dejan managed to get hold of her feet. By Salvos tried desperately to hold on to the ground, but Dejan grasped strong thigh. Hack vows to help Salvos. Salvos extending her hand towards them. She urged them to hold the Hack, but unfortunately it was too late, for Salvos was completely drawn into the portal, and Lamb of Dejan leaving the Hack alone. From the Salvos system window, he was informed that her leaving Dejan, Lamp, and the Demon Kings is another. The notification indicated that Shimixius was leaving the netherworld behind and entering the realm of death. When they both, Salvos and Dejan, fell underground, so they were surprised to see many men who were dressed in black and masked, and among them a confident smile covered their faces. Dejan, to the Netherlands, addressed as the greatest devil of. However, her expression turned into one of confusion when Salvos, standing next to Dejan, feeling overwhelmed by the situation, Salvos saw the exposed man, who this person turned out to be a 45th level sectarian, smiled knowingly and happily. He said he did. Kamya man looked pleased with the successful summoning, and this claimed that he has offered the sacrifice of a virgin. Declared that Dejan and Salvos, it was the devils they summoned. He said that he has fulfilled the terms of their agreement by sacrificing. Now he asked for their help. The petition was centered around a town called Dawn Wind. He revealed that he once was influenced by Lucy because the cultist seen continuing his narrative that ran around Dajan's neck, ignoring it was shattered. The cultist shared his personal story, a story full of enthusiasm. What had Lucy intended to ask? But her dreams are shattered when Nolan's name a group of gold-ranked adventurers led by a warrior. Lucy arrived in town. Nolan falls in love and she with him escaped, which broke his heart after hearing this man's story. Tears welled up in his eyes and his voice shook with emotion. However, Salvos couldn't understand any emotions or why was he sharing this story. Suddenly there was a scream filled with hatred and vengeance flares up against Nolan and his band. About the adventurers, Jin from Dajan begged the mighty Dajan to destroy Nolan and made him pay for his actions, and confused, she started looking for an escape route. Looked out, but 3 lower levels cultists stood in his way. They level 45 cultists, reminding him of his true purpose. His from King Hale spoken of revenge for oppressive taxation. And a level 45 cultist rejected his purpose, saying that even a powerful demon like Dajan the king cannot be destroyed suddenly by Dajan. Anger erupted to stop him. Ring as he broke as he unleashed her wrath on the sectarians and attacked them one by one. With her spear the cults tries to remind Dajan of their contract, but is too strong. Satan ignored him and observed the chaos. Salvos saw the moment to jump and escape when she got out of Pentacle, casting a terrifying fire strike which frightened the cultists. Tried to block her way. The cultists ordered their followers to stop the Salvos, but his orders fell on deaf ears, for Dajan turned his anger upon them at the same time. Salvos narrowly avoiding a spear thrown by a cultist. Now faced with 3 cultists, who as they were blocking the way attacked her with magic and weapons. In response the Salvos launched another fire strike which defeated 2 cults, the last one leaving only one standing. The rest of the cultists at her spear attack, but Salvos one strongly counterattacked. The fire strike broke the spear, and leaving the cultist unaware of it, 2 other cultists behind her came stealthily, and despite the pain that shot through her back she did cope with a devastating fire explosion, the one who defeated them both. She continued running, getting closer to the exit with every step. Finally she leaped out of the cave and into a forest, dashing away without looking back. However, she stumbled over a rock and fell to the ground. She realized she had managed to lose her pursuers as Salvos checked notifications about her increasing attributes. Exhaustion overcame her, and she passed out. She was awakened by a dream of Heek's voice urging her to run. She found herself alone in a strange green land, realizing she had entered the mortal realm. Although everything still hurt, she was grateful to be alive. Suddenly she heard a rustling sound behind her. Turning around, she expected to face a fearsome hellhound, but was surprised to find herself face to face with a level 18 dark wolf. Despite the pain and confusion, Salvos readied herself for the fight. With a single fire strike she defeated the wolf. Annoyed by how easy the battle was compared to her previous fights, she prepared to continue her journey back to the netherworld. As she made her way, she couldn't help but be distracted by the beauty of the creatures she encountered along the way. Butterflies, snails, caterpillars. They were all so different from what she was accustomed to, but the sky puzzled her the most, as it changed colors, shifting from blue to orange, then dark, before returning to blue again. Salvos continued her journey through the unfamiliar realm. She couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted. The rustling sounds would always precede the appearance of wolves intent on attacking her. Frustrated by these constant encounters, she fought them off using her fire magic, growing more irritated with each battle. Upon reaching level 19, Salvos came across a wolf pup that had no level indicator. Before she could ponder this strange occurrence, a massive level 30 dark wolf emerged, clearly the leader of the pack. So is this the last of your pack? That's why they were all such low levels, right? I've already taken care of the rest of your pack, Salvos questioned, provoking a fierce growl from the wolf. She realized that the wolf was angry with her for killing so many its pack members. Addressing the remaining wolves, Salvos stated, your minions attacked me first, and that's why they're all dead now. I'm prepared to take all of you down, including the level 30 dark wolf. 2 wolves suddenly leaped at her from behind, but she was ready. Without even looking, she swiftly struck them down with her fire strike. The lower level wolves retreated into the grass, leaving only their leader behind. Salvos activated her fire strike skill and focused, keeping an eye on the wolves hiding in the grass, attempting to confuse her. Suddenly 3 wolves sprang forward simultaneously to attack her, but Salvos managed to defeat them all. Blood splattered around her as she kneeled on the ground, catching sight of another approaching wolf. With a roar, the wolf lunged at her, but Salvos quickly used double step to charge at it, striking with a powerful fire strike. Wolf managed to escape through a shadow portal. Undeterred, Salvos continued her assault on the remaining wolves, almost defeating them all. Unbeknownst to her, the levelless wolf had regained consciousness and stood behind her. Seizing the opportunity, the level 30 dark wolf emerged from the shadow portal, and attacked. Salvos biting her arm, pain shot through her, causing her to scream out. Enraged, she unleashed a fire blast targeting the dark wolf. However, the flame barely left a scratch. It seemed that this was the only wolf remaining that Salvos needed to defeat. But she wasn't sure if she could win this fight. To her surprise, the levelless wolf lunged at the level 30 dark wolf, biting its neck. Salvos realized that the levelless wolf was helping her with the level 30 dark wolf. Wounded and unable to continue the fight, it fled to escape. Salvos was puzzled by the wolf's actions and approached it cautiously. The wolf bowed to her. "Are you grateful?" Salvos asked, understanding that the dark wolves had been a threat to this wolf as well. The wolf nodded in response. "Well, it's no problem. They were attacking me too, so I defeated them all," Salvos said with a wide smile. She asked the wolf if it knew the way to the netherworld, but it only whined in response. Undeterred, Salvos asked if there was someone who might know how to reach the netherworld. The wolf pointed in a specific direction, catching Salvos' attention. "Can I find someone who can help me there?" she inquired. Deciding to trust the wolf's guidance, Salvos set off in that direction. After defeating several more wolves, Salvos reached level 20. Meanwhile, in the depths of the forest, two people were having a conversation inside a carriage. They discussed the ongoing invasion of Fallisfield by the Dusk Wolves and the lack of adventurers willing to confront them. They spoke of the gold-ranked adventurers hired by the Ignoria Empire and Electric Kingdom to defend against the monster attacks while their armies were engaged in war. It was suggested that any smart adventurer would avoid Nixa and head straight to the king.